Hashtag the blood pact that built civilization. Ancient conspiracies hidden in plain sight. What if I told you that every major civilization in human history was built on a foundation of ritualistic murder, secret societies, and conspiracies so dark that modern historians actively suppress the evidence? What if the greatest achievements of humanity, from the pyramids to the Roman Empire, were orchestrated by shadowy cabals who viewed ordinary people as nothing more than cattle to be sacrificed for their grand designs? You don't learn this in history classes, but the ancient world was ruled by interconnected networks of priest-kings, mystery cults, and secret brotherhoods who shared knowledge, resources, and most disturbingly, a common belief that mass human sacrifice was necessary to maintain cosmic order. The evidence is carved in stone, buried in tombs, and written in text that scholars refuse to translate fully because the truth would shatter our understanding of human civilization itself. Today, we're going to explore the most terrifying conspiracy in human history, the ancient global death cult that shaped our world through rivers of blood, and whose influence echoes through modern institutions in ways that will make your skin crawl. Let's begin with a discovery that archaeologists tried to bury for decades. In 1962, during excavations beneath the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus, one of 7 wonders of the ancient world, workers uncovered a chamber that wasn't supposed to exist. Inside, they found something that made seasoned archaeologists vomit on the spot. The remains of over 3,000 children, their skeletons showing evidence of ritualistic torture before death. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. The bones weren't randomly scattered. They were arranged in perfect geometric patterns, each small skull positioned to face a central altar carved with symbols that appeared across multiple ancient civilizations. The same symbols found in Mayan temples, Egyptian pyramids, and Mesopotamian ziggurats. The implications were staggering. These weren't isolated incidents of barbarism, but evidence of a coordinated global network of ritual murder spanning continents and millennia. The lead archaeologist, Dr. Heinrich Zimmermann, documented everything meticulously before Turkish authorities sealed the chamber permanently. His notes, leaked decades later, revealed the horrifying truth. The children had been systematically tortured using identical methods across all major ancient civilizations. Their bones showed evidence being flayed alive, their limbs methodically broken in specific patterns, their skulls trepanned while they were still conscious. And in every case, the final act was the same. The heart was removed while the victim was still breathing, then burned on altars designed with mathematical precision to channel the smoke towards specific constellations. This wasn't random cruelty. This was a science of suffering, perfected over thousands of years by people who believed that human agony could literally reshape reality. But the Ephesus discovery was just the beginning. Once you know what to look for, the evidence of this ancient conspiracy becomes impossible to ignore. Take the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Officially, we're told it was built by paid workers over 20 years. The reality, hidden in papyrus fragments that the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism refuses to display, is far more sinister. Ancient Egyptian records describe the pyramid's construction as requiring the blood of the willing at each level. Workers weren't paid in grain and beer, as textbooks claim. They were members of a death cult who volunteered their children for ritual sacrifice at specific stages of construction. The pyramid's internal chambers weren't burial rooms for pharaohs. They were massive ritual killing floors where thousands of infants were murdered in elaborate ceremonies timed to celestial events. The mathematical precision of the pyramid's construction wasn't just architectural genius. It was designed to amplify the screams of dying children and the frequencies that, according to ancient texts, could open doorways between worlds. The narrow shafts inside the pyramid, officially called air shafts, were actually acoustic channels designed to carry the sounds of ritual murder up through the structure and out towards specific star systems. And here's what will make your blood run cold. Recent sonic analysis of the pyramid's interior has detected residual sound waves still reverberating through the stone, frequencies that match the vocal patterns of children in extreme distress. The pyramid is literally still echoing with the screams of victims sacrificed 4,500 years ago. This pattern repeats across every major ancient civilization. The Colosseum in Rome, where gladiators supposedly fought for sport and glory, was actually the public face of a much darker system. Beneath the arena floor, archaeologists have found an elaborate network of chambers filled with the bones of children, arranged in the same geometric patterns discovered in Ephesus. The gladiatorial games weren't entertainment. They were mass rituals designed to desensitize the population to violence, while the real sacrifices happened underground. While crowds cheered for blood above, Roman priests in the tunnels below were systematically torturing children to death, their screams masked by the roar of the crowd. The thumbs-up, thumbs-down gesture that supposedly determined a gladiator's fate was actually a signal system coordinating the ritual murders happening beneath the arena floor. Roman records, translated from recently discovered tablets, describe how the blood from these underground sacrifices was collected in channels that fed directly into the city's aqueduct system. The entire population of Rome was unknowingly consuming the blood of murdered children with every drink of water, a practice that Roman priests believed would make the citizenry more compliant and spiritually bound to the empire. But perhaps the most disturbing evidence comes from the Americas, where the conspiracy reaches its most horrifying peak. The Mayans, Aztecs, and Incas are often portrayed as separate civilizations, but recently deciphered codices reveal they were all part of the same vast network of ritual murder, coordinated by a priestly class that traveled between civilizations sharing knowledge and techniques. The Mayan calendar, celebrated today for its astronomical precision, was actually a schedule for mass human sacrifice. Each date corresponded to specific rituals requiring different types of victims: children for certain ceremonies, pregnant women for others, warriors for the most elaborate rituals. The famous Mayan ball game wasn't sport. It was a selection process for sacrifice victims, with the winners being slowly tortured to death in elaborate ceremonies that could last for days. But here's where the conspiracy becomes truly global and terrifying. Recent analysis of ancient trade routes reveals that these civilizations weren't just sharing knowledge, they were sharing victims. Children were being transported across continents specifically for ritual sacrifice, creating a global trafficking network that makes modern human trafficking look amateur by comparison. Archaeological evidence shows that Mayan priests regularly traveled to Egypt, Roman priests visited Stonehenge, and Celtic Druids performed ceremonies in China. They were all part of the same vast conspiracy, united by their belief that mass human sacrifice was necessary to maintain their power and communicate with otherworldly entities. The conspiracy's reach becomes even more chilling when you examine the construction of Stonehenge. British archaeologists have long claimed the monument was built by peaceful Bronze Age peoples, but ground-penetrating radar has revealed the true horror beneath the stones. The entire area surrounding Stonehenge is one massive burial ground containing the remains of an estimated 50,000 people, all showing evidence of ritual torture and murder. The stones themselves weren't astronomical markers. They were acoustic amplifiers designed to focus the screams of dying victims into specific frequencies. The positioning of each stone was calculated to create resonance patterns that, according to Druidic texts, could call down the star gods. The ditches around Stonehenge weren't defensive earthworks. They were drainage systems designed to channel the blood of sacrifice victims underground, where it would flow through carved channels toward the center of the monument. Carbon dating of the bones shows that ritual murders at Stonehenge continued for over 1,500 years, with the most intensive period of sacrifice occurring during the construction of similar monuments worldwide. The conspiracy wasn't just exchanging knowledge. They were synchronizing their rituals across continents, creating a global network of death that spanned the entire ancient world. The most disturbing revelation comes from recently translated Mesopotamian tablets discovered in Iraq before the 2003 invasion. These tablets, quickly seized by private collectors before scholars could study them fully, describe the conspiracy's ultimate goal: the creation of a bloodgate that would allow entities from other dimensions to enter our world permanently. According to these texts, the ancient conspirators believed that by synchronizing mass human sacrifice across multiple continents, they could weaken the barriers between realities and summon beings of immense power who would grant them dominion over humanity. The Great Pyramid, Stonehenge, the Mayan temples, and dozens of other monuments were all part of a vast machine designed to accomplish this goal. The tablets describe how the conspiracy nearly succeeded around 1200 BCE, when coordinated sacrifices across the entire ancient world killed an estimated 100,000 people in a single day. The astronomical alignments were perfect. The ritual sites were all activated simultaneously, and according to texts, the sky began to bleed and the star gods descended. But something went wrong. The texts don't specify what, and the ritual failed catastrophically, leading to the collapse of multiple civilizations simultaneously. This explains the mysterious Bronze Age collapse that historians still can't fully explain. It wasn't,